done. Today we are actually going to be looking after Vera instead of abusing her. Yeah, so today we're going to be doing some servicing bits on the 940. These are things that I've been meaning to do for quite a while now, but I've just never actually got around to doing. One of them being we're going to be doing a full coolant flush because the coolant in this car is nasty. Second, we're going to be installing, it's in the other car, a oil catch can, which is something that I feel like just needs to be done on these cars because the PCV system in this car is shit. Now, I will go through why we are installing an oil catch can. Main reason being, like I said, the PCV system in these cars are absolutely naff. So, basically, if you don't know what a PCV system is, it's basically positive crankcase ventilation. And that is what we need. So, basically, when your piston is moving, you are going to get air, which goes down and then into the crankcase. It's basically called blow-by. Now, this air, you're always going to get it. You can't really be helped. You're always going to get at least some air that is going to creep through and go into your crankcase. Now, this air needs to be released from your crankcase, otherwise it's going to build up pressure, and it's going to, you know, create oil leaks and things like that, which is probably one of the main reasons why my engine does leak oil. I'll show you actually. Ignore that. Down here, this is the PCV box, and underneath here there is where the air would come out. So obviously you've got a crankcase down here, the air comes out into this box, and then there is a breather hose, which is this one here, which comes from the top of that box, and that feeds straight back into your intake, which is there. So that feeds straight back into your intake, so basically that's relieving the air from there. I had one in here before, and I actually replaced it for a new one, so this is a new one that I put in because my last one was just full of shit. But this breather hose was also full of shit. I mean, I tried to clean it the best I could, but it must still be clogged. And basically that was just feeding, like, basically oil and air into my intake, which isn't really what you want. And then if you can remember, I mentioned before that I had loads of oil coming out of the turbo, and that's basically what was happening. So it was just feeding oily air into here, and that was just spewing out the turbo. I mean, what I could do is I could, you know, just replace the system. Obviously I've already replaced the box, I could just put a new breather hose in, but I don't really want that happening again. I can't be bothered with it. So what we're going to be doing instead, if I go over here, there she is, we've got an oil catch can, which is basically we're going to be installing into the car. So if you don't know what one of these is, basically it's you feed the PCV, well, the breather hose would go into here. There is like a filter in here that separates the oil particles from the air, so you get that catches all the oil, that'll filter to the bottom, and then the fresh clean air goes into the intake, if that makes sense. What we're going to be doing is scrapping this hose going straight into the intake. This hose is then going to go into the catch can. Catch can is going to get all the oil that we don't want going into the intake, catch it in there, and then we're going to have the fresh air then going into the intake, and then she should be working a lot nicer than what she is now. I don't even need to explain the coolant. I mean, the state of the bottle speaks for itself. Yeah, that's actually vile. So we don't really want that in the car. So we're going to be doing a full flush the whole thing out, clean the radiator out. So, yeah, we're going to go and get a shit ton of new coolant. Thankfully, my guy Jesse has actually sorted a fat deal out on a shit ton of coolant. Shout out to you, Jesse. Thanks a lot, mate. I do want to get the car back up and running because she's not been running right. She's not been running nicely at all recently, to be honest. She's been burning a little bit of oil and not nice. And then maybe not, we might be able to do some skids later on. It's always when I'm like, there's problems with the 940 constantly getting in the way, I forget how good this C30 is. Like, this C30 is such a good car and I literally love her to bits. And to be fair, like, I got to a point where I didn't really want to do much to the C30 anymore, but I had to go in one with a straight through exhaust the other day, literally same engine as mine, so the D3 5-pot diesel. Jesus Christ, it sounded like a Focus ST, so you better believe we are getting a fat exhaust on this car soon. Right, we're back, and we have got the goods. Massive thank you to Jessie for sorting me out with these. So I've just got the car in the air. Naturally, of course, it's decided to start raining, which I hate this country, honestly, I do. I can guarantee that, you know, I've been working solidly now for the past month and a bit. Weather's been beautiful. As soon as I get a week off, shit. Hello. So it's day 2 of doing this, but it's actually a few days after I finished the last video. Partly because it started raining and then it didn't stop for 2 whole days. It was literally absolutely chucking it down for 2 days. So now it is like, yeah, it's like 3 days after, and we're finally going to get this pissing coolant flushed. Today all we're going to be doing is we're going to be popping off this hose here, which goes like the bottom radiator hose, which goes straight to water pump. Take that off, that'll flush loads out, and then we're going to do the same with the thermostat. While I'm here, I'm going to show you underneath this car, because this is like the first time I've actually properly had a good look underneath it anyway. And you can see how oily everything is. Like, there's literally oil everywhere that's just leaking down. Literally not a spot of rust. It's literally solid as anything under here, which for a 23-year-old Volvo I will take. Well, what a discovery. I have just found a bolt stuck under here. Fuck knows where that's from or how it's got there, but nice. Just pulled that pipe off. That's got quite a lot out. Look at the state of it. I'm just going to pull the thermostat off, obviously get coolant out of here, and then we're going to flush through, so flush some clean water through, get it all nice and clean, put a new one in. I do need to get a new coolant bottle though, because this one's absolutely grim, and I'm pretty sure it's leaking from the bottom because there's coolant coming out everywhere. So I've took the thermostat out, thermostat's here, and then I've put it back on, and then I've flushed water all the way through block, out, and then obviously out through the bottom here. So I've done that until the water's clean, that's coming out, which it is. We have coolant being drained. Hello, we are back again. It's probably about a month after I actually started this video, which is quite bad, and it's shocking behaviour, I know. Mainly because as I was saying, like where we left off, I just drained the coolant and I was going to put the catch can in. Now the problem was that the catch can for the hose that came with the catch can, because it was just like a universal one on eBay, it wasn't the right size for the car, so then I bought some more, and I bought the wrong size like 3 times, mainly because I'm an idiot, which is hardly surprising. I've had the right size hose for ages now, I've just not got round to doing it. Today I'm finally going to actually do it, and we're actually going to get round to doing it, and we're actually going to finish it. So I've got the right hose size. Now the only thing is the car is running low on oil. What is that? What is it, Mr. Milo? Oh my gosh, it's oil. Do you want the oil? Do you want some? Hi. Oh, you're so handsome. Anyway, Milo seems particularly invested in this oil. You alright, mate? Anyway, I've just been to the shop and I bought some more hose clamps to clamp them hoses on. I've had a bit of I've actually managed to get the catch can mounted. It was a bit of a pain in the arse because the side where I would ideally want it, obviously the side where the intake is, there wasn't really anywhere to mount it unless you made like a bracket or something, and I ain't got the facilities for that, big man. So I just put it on the other side and I'm basically just going to feed the hose over the top, which it's no big deal, it's fine. Yeah, that's what I've been messing about with doing this morning. Obviously, I thought I may as well I'd rather get the catch can on and then start the video instead of me pissing around as always. The reason I'm inside is because it's pissing it down, which is, again, a big, massive shock. So I think it's just stopped raining now. So we're going to go back out and we're going to get these hoses clamped, and then we'll hopefully, I'm going to top some oil up as well because we've been running low. And hopefully we should be good to go then. So here's the current situation. So I've managed to get this hose onto the top of the PCV box, clamp that in, that's now running across the top here, and the catch can is sat here, and then that's clamped onto there. Do the same on the other side and then feed that into the intake, which is there. Obviously, like I said, I would have liked to have had the catch can on this side, obviously, because that's where the intake is, but there was literally nowhere that I could mount that unless I made some fancy bracket or something, and I couldn't be arsed doing that. There was already holes drilled here, so I've literally just mounted it to there, and yeah, that's where it's going to sit now. So obviously that hose will just go over the top and straight into there. So the kit actually comes with these little like fixture things that you attach to the hose, so that obviously that bit screws into the catch can and then that bit goes into whatever hose you are using. One on there already was like bigger than the rest, but there was only one that size, which was a bit peak. I don't know why they did that. This one's a little bit smaller, but what I've done is it comes with little O-rings as well, so I've just banged a little O-ring on the bottom and then that actually fits in there quite nicely now. As long as that's clamped down, obviously that should be alright. Okay, so as you can see, that just screws in. Oh, there we go. Screws in there like that. Then we'll get the hose on like that. Bang another clamp there. Put that in there. Job's a good one. There we go, so it's done. So obviously there's a can. So I've now got it feeding from the PCV now back into the intake, which is there. I've had the car running for a bit, it's not showing any problems. So hopefully, all being well, that should start to work now. Obviously it does have a little dipstick on it here, which we can use to check if there is any oil in there. Obviously that will be our way to check if it's working or not. Yeah, so far so good. So that's that job done. It's all, you know, tightened up, everything's fine. I've had the car running for a bit and there's no issues. So only time will tell if the catch can is actually working, obviously, because we'll be able to see over time whether it actually does fill up with oil. I can't imagine why it wouldn't work, but you know, anyway, it'd be interesting to see how much oil does actually collect in there. So hopefully the car might run a little bit better now. We'll have a lot less oil spewing out all over the turbo, which is exactly what we want. We're not going to be sending it massively in this car for a bit, partly because the camshaft seals and the cam belt need replacing. Like, I bought the car with no service history, so I don't know when the cam belt was done. So obviously I want to get that done for a peace of mind. And then the camshaft seals, there's an oil leak coming from the camshaft seals, so we need to get those done as well. And I'm actually planning on taking it somewhere to get that done. Hopefully Vera will be back 100% soon. She's a little bit better now, but hopefully we'll be back 100% very, very shortly. I hope you enjoyed this video. Apologies that, well, I don't know why I'm apologising to you, it'll make a difference to you guys, but it took me like over a month to do this. I think the first half of this video was filmed at the end of August, and it is now like what's the date today? It's the 9th of October, so great job, Emily. I hope you enjoyed this video and I shall see you soon.